Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Perry, and I want to tell you a story. I used to teach in the U.S. Virgin Islands in the summertime. Many years ago, I was teaching Upward Bound students in the summers, and it was a really great time. And I taught English, I taught social studies, I taught sociology, I taught a couple of things. So I had some students who would write half in the dialect and half in so-called standard English. Now, the U.S. Virgin Islands, obviously, you're still in the U.S. Anyway, my students would write half one way, half the other way. They'd slip into dialect, they'd come back out of dialect. And so one day I just said, listen, you all are going to have to write, if you're writing this paper, write it one way or the other. You can write in dialect or you can write in so-called standard English. And if you write in dialect, because I don't understand everything, I understand a lot, but I don't understand everything. So if you could, give me a little glossary at the end of your paper. One student came in the next day and said, Dr. Berry, how you spell ps? He said, stroops? I don't know how to spell stroops. That's all right. I got to write in so-called standard English. Tease ya, man. And it was true. The so-called standard English was much easier than this beautiful dialect that with a you could say pages. We hear what we hear. Let me say it a better way. I had a head injury several years back, and I was losing my hearing. I thought I was losing my hearing. I thought it was. It was devastating. Now, a specialist told me, no, your ears are fine. Your hearing is fine. You hear with your ears. You listen with your brain. And I couldn't discern it at the time, but there was a siren that was going off at all time, and it was kind of bringing everything to the same level. So walking, talking, the sound of the air conditioning unit, writing, everything was at the same level. And I couldn't distinguish what I was hearing. Still, I had a physician who sent me to an audiologist to check my hearing. And I remember the tech taking me through, the exam, and play the sounds, the tones, and you raise your hand if you hear them. And then she would say words. She said, I'm going to say a word, and I want you to repeat after me. And I said, okay. And she said, cat. I said, cat. She said, dog. I said, dog. She said, out. I said, out. She came out and said, your hearing is fine, but your pronunciation is off. We hear and speak and say what we've learned. And if the group around you is hearing the same way and saying the same way and speaking the same way, you never question it. And then someone comes in with something slightly different, and you say, oh, that's bad. I didn't want those kids in the Virgin Islands to ever think that the way they used English was bad. In fact, it was really powerful. It was parsimonious, saying the most in the least amount of space. At the same time, I've been told that the way I use language is bad because I don't say it the way others say it. And I can understand here in the South how people kind of claim it because someone else has put them down and said that they sound dumb because of the way they speak. No, it's just a different way of speaking. I like to say you can't get an accent speaking only one language. Whatever that so-called accent may be. Anyway, I'm saying a lot of things and they're all over the place, but let me bring it back to this. The power of story is that it allows you, if you still yourself enough, to go in and hear your own story. It allows you to connect to the point of origin. What's the point of origin? I don't know. Your own story. Our stories are connected. The way we say them may be different. The words we use may not be the words that you're accustomed to hearing. The dialect may slightly turn in one way than the other. One thing I know for certain is that I love you in any language.